Our February Gridwork remote mission will be a part of the New Earth prophecy course that we're doing. And so we're really going to be focusing on the gold grid and the gold core because it's very healing and it's very harmonizing and it's carrying a lot of the freedom and peace codes. And it's very aligned to the New Earth prophecy that we would focus more on Sarasota Stargate 2 because there's just so much happening at that Stargate right now as we have, the chemtrailing, the artificial frequencies, the bacterial fog, the metatronic flowering, and the moving of the gate system itself not being stabilized. So that's kind of interesting. Remote viewing that more and try to bring stability to Stargate 2. Working on possibly Mar-a-Lago and Stargate 3, the Bermuda Triangle, clearing the Draco swarm energy and any negative Atlantean priest grid black magic, eliminating dark AI nanotechnology. And this is going to deeply connect into the boots on the ground mission that we're doing in South Carolina, as well as I think that there is Stargate triangulation that's occurring from Stargate 2 to Bermuda to Charleston. So we'll be decoding more of these things in our remote mission as well. We'll be working on the Galactic Coast on the East Coast because there's so much UFO activity and blue beam technology and AI weaponry in the skies right now. And we'll also be working on clearing the Gulf of America and everything connecting over to Stargate 10, which I feel Stargate 10 is kind of umbrella for that whole Stargate system that we just seen in the Red Sea, going down to the Kaaba, going up to Al Aqsa Mosque, the Temple Mount, over to Giza. So they're all energetic ley lines that are interconnecting, and this will be the main focus for us in the coursework. So you do have to join the course to join February's mission, but we will be highlighting the mission for people to watch. This will be kind of what we're focused on for the actual group remote mission. And then, of course, we'll be focusing on activating the gold earth core and the golden grid and the gold DNA activation because this will help us really establish our energetic connections to the new earth timelines and upgrade our divine blueprint to the 12th dimensional blueprint and just be overall, I think, a lot of healing and a lot of psychic activation for all of these upgrades that we're going to be getting in the coming of the golden age. So it's kind of exciting. I haven't done a remote gold grid activation in a remote session before, so it's definitely going to be all new material. And you guys remember the video that we did last time where we were talking about this ley line network from the Bermuda up to Calgary. There's actually a lake up here, and then this is going over to Mount Shasta, and we made this deep connection with these ley lines. And then also that main AI ley line that we found from Mount Shasta down to Abilene, Texas, down to the tip of Miami. So we're going to probably be working really on clearing this ley line in the course. And then, of course, also the J seals as well. Always working on that. It seems to be a continuous thing that never really ends because it's like these wormhole systems are kind of tricky, right? They're just, and I think they turn on and turn off. So sometimes they're more activated than others. And I noticed when they activate, you can literally feel black hole systems running in your body, siphoning your energy. Because it does seem like there's quite a Stargate network. I do feel like Jerusalem is a Stargate, the Temple Mount, Al Aqsa is an Anunnaki Stargate, and then Cairo as well. So it's interesting because, Gaza's right in between, a massive
Mhm.
Stargate network. Let's see, pull out.
So what's
America.
interesting,
Yep,
go ahead,
running.
Misty.
They
You can go
predict
first.
America to be the new Jerusalem too. You've heard that, right?
I've heard that. I've also heard, America has apparently is the original Egypt too. I mean, we have Egypt and Sedona right here in southern Illinois. I literally just drove through Cairo and, there's Pyramid Lake and Egypt Lake, and it's all named after Egyptian cities. There was Egyptian artifacts found. I mean, Egyptian gold. There's stuff here, but it's not mainstream.
Right.
It's all
And
over, but I think
I-
that the U.S. plays a much more significant role in all of this story than we understand either. Also,
And it's so
Indy,
interesting. No, it's so interesting. I charted this with red and blue, and I charted this way like maybe like
long
a
ago.
year ago, and I have red, white, and blue all over here. That's kind of strange.
yeah, that is
I-
interesting.
Indy, can you just zoom out a little bit because what I'm seeing, I just want to see, yeah, how far it is from Cairo. Okay, so I what I'm seeing right here is in ancient times, the water was probably not as high up on the land. So there must be something in those waters right there from Port Said, even like around through Alexandria, all the way up to the Gaza Strip. I bet there's something in those waters.
Yeah, I would definitely. I mean, the whole vibe is there's something in the water, there's something
Mm-hmm.
underground, inner Earth connection, otherworldly stargates. There's people that claim that the reason that people have been fighting over that part of the world forever is because that's where the most stargates are, or maybe the most significant stargates, and it's been, a battle for who has access to those portals. Um, I think you're onto something though with the water. I feel that too.
Indy, do you remember we did a gridwork mission on that water
We did, yeah.
with that spring that we activated, that ancient spring that was under there?
And the Mediterranean is just magical in itself, anyways. I mean, it's definitely the womb waters of the planet. And also, the Archangel Michael ley line, runs right down through here as well. I think Al-Aqsa Mosque is where it runs into the Temple Mount up from Ireland. So, there's that. And they have a lot of, like Tyler was saying, like a lot of technology here. Like they have mo planetary modification and weapon systems all running here as well because it's such a high energy area. Like they do probably tap off and run blue beam technology and Armageddon pulse technology and just all of this stuff, like they can run through CERN down through that Archangel Michael ley line, antagonistic patterning, war patterning. The spike matrix from inside of the planet can come up and hit that. And I wonder sometimes if they're not just operating that whole internal spike matrix and just constantly keeping like a spike rod up underneath the grids to constantly aggravate the Al-Aqsa Mosque and, run all of the war codes through the three Abrahamic religious bloodlines. I mean, it's so entangled to, I think, the negative machinery that they have. It's so weaponized that it may be a good thing to get the people off this land for some time to try to extract and, like Trump said he was going to do, like dig out the tunnels and the bombs and all of the stuff that's there. I mean, how else are they going to get, all the negative stuff out if there's people all over it and war over it all over the time? Like there's definitely needs to be some time where the clearing process can happen and
You know,
hopefully it's going to strengthen the grids.
that makes perfect sense to me. Like, okay, imagine if you're an ET race and you're coming to the planet and all the problem spots are highlighted and you see exactly what needs to be done. What would you do looking down at the planet? You would say, okay, first thing we need to do is move all the people out of this area and put them over here so we can clean this up. Like it's so simple of a solution. It is to like move the people out and clear up that land. Yet the process and the politics involved make it, obviously nearly impossible. But I think that's absolutely what needs to happen.
Well, and this is a whole Stargate network here because this Gulf of Aden is, well, this is an underwater Orion Stargate port. The Red Sea, all of this has been known to be the Anunnaki passageways. We know that a lot of them come in, underwater. And the tip of, what is this part? Because that's not Saudi Arabia. This is, I'm not sure what that is. Sharm el-Sheikh, yeah. This is, I think this is where the actual ancient Anunnaki Stargate ports have been known to be located. And so this is, and then this would be the Kaaba, and this
Oh, the
connects.
Kaba's right there.
Yeah, that's the Kaaba,
Thing.
and we know that's a Saturn black cube system and matrix. So this might be, the point of the hive mind or the hive control. And it's definitely a Stargate, though, at the same time, or a man-made Stargate, or even a pre-Atlantean Stargate if they had some sort of CERN um, technology running up underneath the land in previous eras and root races, and then they're just repatterning there with their anti-clockwise spirals, and then connecting it into Giza, hijacking Giza and the
Yep.
Al-Aqsa Mosque. I mean, it's a control system, and it's literally Gaza is like smack dab in the middle of it.
And highlight
Wow.
the Nile River, because the Nile River supposedly flows backwards from south to north. And you know what else does? The French Broad River in western North Carolina is one of the oldest rivers in the world that flows from south to north.
And the Mississippi River also flowed from south to north after an earthquake in the 1800s. But there's people that have done um, digs on the Mississippi River, calling it either the mini Nile or the original Nile. Like, there, either way, there's a connection with the Mississippi, and like within the word Mississippi is ISIS, and there's just so many things.
I know
Um,
Dave
Interesting.
Patrick Childress talked a lot about that, that the waters were not barriers but ways of travel, and that's why they found Egyptian and Olmec and all these old ruins of and
right,
artifacts and mummies and all kinds of stuff in southern Illinois.
right, yeah, no, it's unbelievable. People just don't know. That's why we did our documentary on the Cahokia Mounds and the surrounding area. And it kind of opened a lot of people's eyes because they don't know that the Cahokia Mounds is literally the largest North American pyramid complex in the country, in North America. An ancient site that has all these ties to Egypt and just things that people don't know about because that history is not in our textbooks. But I'm totally with you, Indy, that that is a control system. Like, it's a grid. It creates the matrix. I mean, that's
And
how
I
they
keep,
do it.
Definitely.
I have to bring this through. I keep seeing this like mirroring technology between this space and America, how we keep going back and forth. There's something there by purpose. There's something there connecting like within Mother Earth. There's something, and somebody was just talking about in the comments about the inner Earth
Right.
passageways, but there's something just very different than anything I've ever felt into and working on the grids and this coming through this mirroring technology between these spaces.
Well,
And why, right? Why is that? Why would they want to do that?
so I want you to, right, I want you to look at the land here and the colors. What you're looking at over there in Egypt and Algeria, Libya, all that whole area, Saudi Arabia, it's a scar. It's a battle wound. Like, look at how it was green. Now, Indy, if you can go zoom in on Utah in the Southwest, it's the same scar. It's not as prominent as that because it's not as big, but there's a scar there too. And that's where, it's
Maria.
actually
Yeah.
That's
depending
Lemuria right there.
depending
And
on
then
which map you
yeah,
look at, that scar is a lot bigger looking. But either way, we see destruction in every ancient site there that looks like it was melted from above. And the whole meltology theory, we're talking about direct energy weapons, something that we're talking, yeah, ancient battles, direct energy weapons, nukes, whatever the hell they were. Um, they're scars.
and Indy, this brings me back to that same gridwork mission or one of them that we were doing where we were decoding that land and the lack of water and how that really contributed to the war codes and what is still going on to this day with that lack of water and what that does to the land and to the inhabitants.
The Mormons also, Joseph Smith was obsessed with Egypt and mummies and different things. And when I stood on the Great Salt Lake, when I was, drove a truck with Ron, after not much sleep at all, I mean, I could actually feel Egyptian things buried, like there was some kind of history there. And when you see the Grand Canyon and when you go to some of these places by Zion and places in Utah, these rocks, the way they are, it looks like something happened instantly almost, or I mean, maybe it was over time, but to me, it looks like instantly. Like, how are they in these positions? It's just so wild.
No, it was like it's almost the equivalent of being flash frozen. Like
Yeah.
something, it was a direct energy attack. I mean, there is literally evidence of it when you're on the ground. Like if you've ever been to Chaco Canyon, I've been a few times, you can see in the rock walls where it looks like laser beam destroyed it and it was like a blast site. I mean,
What we're looking at here is this entire region from the Giza Stargate, fourth planetary Stargate, to the Temple Mount Al-Aqsa Mosque, and then what we have as the Gaza Strip, in which sits in between the two, with a ley line that runs directly through the strip area, exactly between the two Stargate systems. So these are definitely biblical prophecy and proportions unfolding right before our eyes, guys. This Gaza Strip is actually a very dynamic and important aspects of the land. Okay, so you can see that I charted everything here in accordance to the Stargate system and ultimately the barricaded frequency fence zones and closed gate systems within the Gaza Strip, as you can see outlined in red here, which is one huge gigantic frequency fence outlined in red. And you see all these little camp triangles basically here. There's also one inside Gaza as well, but essentially these locations is where the Palestinians refugee camps are. Okay, so the Palestinians are not just in the Gaza Strip. They are essentially displaced to multiple areas in other refugee camps in locations you see here with these little tents that the Palestinians are also in Lebanon, Damascus, Syria. They're also in Jordan. So they're not just in the Gaza Strip. They've been displaced for some time. So under Gaza is the accumulation and density of the passageways and underground tunnel systems, basically a labyrinth that have been built by Egyptians and Palestinians, passageways to smuggle goods, smuggle food, smuggle weapons, smuggle whatever from Egypt, and to launch attempts to fight Israel, right? So Egypt is playing a double-sided coin. Egypt is playing a double-sided card. Egypt is the joker in this situation. And I think that they don't have their hands free and they're not clear from any bloodshed whatsoever. They're kind of like the unseen force that's hiding behind everything, since we know that this is the tension from over the Suez Canal. This is a huge basis for this. Okay. And so because of this, they are key access holders for one of the Gaza Gate closures, two controlled by Israel and one controlled by Egypt. And what I mean by that is when I talk about this frequency fence, this very negative, dangerous frequency fence that's being held here, from the spike matrix, from the beast machines running in the planet, from the control and command centers, probably in Antarctica, wherever they're running it. The control centers may even be in the fourth planetary Stargate in the Gears of Giza, where they can actually control this frequency fence around Gaza and use them and manipulate them for their land warfare. These three gates are what you see here. All of these markers are in and out access points to Gaza. So since 2007, these have all been closed. People cannot come in and out of Gaza anywhere along this side of the frequency fence. Israel controlling this one here. This one is the Erez Gate. It's Israel controlled. It is currently open, but it's under Israel's control. And then we also have a few more gates down here that are open, but they're technically closed for Palestinians to come in and out, but they're open to Salah ad-Din Gate in Rafah. This one is an Egyptian controlled gate system. And then we have Rafa Al Aida. This, I'm not sure if this is Israel or Egypt, but this one down in the corner here, this is Israel, the Blue Gate. This one, the Blue Gate, Kareem Shalom. This one is Israel. So between Israel and Egypt, they're controlling all the in and output systems to Gaza. So my question is there one massive tunnel system connecting the fourth planetary stargate Giza all the way to Gaza, the Gaza Gate underground tunnel system, all the way to the Temple Mount? Okay, does this underground network run from the fourth planetary stargate through Gaza as their interconnecting chamber system all the way to the Temple Mount, which would highly, highly leave us suspecting to the idea or the fact that really this is about a subterranean network for extraterrestrials. And just tuning into this, I am picking up on the densely population, but mostly the energetic density, that all of the density between these, in the warfare between these two Stargate systems, accumulates here in the Gaza Strip. And so this is the most energetic, dense place on the planet right now, you guys. This is where all spiritual suffering is taking place on the planet. And so this is, again, an extreme frequency fence border. This is probably, I wouldn't be surprised if they have some sort of shock system that's even running within the lands, or EMF bioweapon that hits you, even if you cross through this, that this is highly guarded by a very detrimental frequency fence. Look at the entire structure here, you guys. Look at this entire network. But it's really the location of Gaza sits in between the greater network of a quad Stargate system with a trifecta of 3 major ascension Stargates, all connected to the Orion, Regulus, Draco, Anunnaki, Nibiru, Nemesis, galactic forces, royalty, and rulership domination over Earth humans. Starting with the Kaaba and Saudi Arabia. Okay, this is a 12D ascension portal. It is a major Stargate system. We have the Al-Aqsa Mosque, Anunnaki Stargate, Well of Souls, portal to Nibiru, negative Stargate system. We have the Giza Stargate, fourth planetary Stargate, considered a positive Stargate system. And then we have the Orion Stargate down in the Gulf of Aden, but they are all hijacked to some degree. There is negative stuff happening. So whether it's positive or negative, it really doesn't matter, because there's still modification planetary weapon systems that are running inside the gate systems. Actual mechanical technologies that they're installing into the power generator sources of the Stargate systems themselves to use those weapon systems against the people, which I'm talking about the laser systems, directed energy weapons, and how they're controlling the frequency fences of Gaza coming from maybe even the gears of Giza and the pyramid system. So that's a possibility. But this is why this is a highly militarized Stargate location on the Earth through the global Navy fleets. It starts down here ultimately at the underwater Stargate in Aden. This is where the Navy fleets come in. Okay, and they are absolutely working with negative ET factions and extraterrestrials to control the battle royale temperament on the planet. Okay, overseeing the secret space programs, operations, and what they're doing out on the dark side of the moon. This is the real battleship Stargate right here down in Aden. This is where it begins through the Orion system. This is a port and an access point that allows them to travel to these Stargate locations, okay? And even Anunnaki ports at the tip of Saudi Arabia to Giza and to the Al-Aqsa Mosque. And so this ties deeply into all of this stuff. This is not fluffy stuff that is going on down here. This is warfare. This is crime. This is piracy. It's as serious and as real as it's going to get on this planet. This is where the secret galactic Willy Wonka is running galactic witness protection programs to and from their systems. Okay, this is where negative ETs are entering and exiting the planet for information to generate themselves from our earthly based Stargates,
using our stargates for power, for time passageways to piggyback off of our energy currents and use it to power their own systems in the Orion systems, and the Nemesis systems, and the Nibiru systems, and the Draco systems. Okay, this is what they want from our planet, our Stargate resources. And this is where they think they can throw us a biblical bone or a biblical doctrine, and they can just settle humanity out in this warfare for the last 6,000 years. What we're fighting is a galactic warfare that was given to humanity, kind of like a dog bone. Okay, like, here, we're going to give you some of it, but we're not going to give you all of it. And you guys can battle it out in your own Stargate warfare. Not fair, not okay, not cool. Okay. This is what they're doing. They're calling it Blackwater Project, and they have access to the Anunnaki spaceports and the Sinai, ultimately through underground tunnel systems to that Temple Mount in Jerusalem. So the Galactic Canal starts in the Gulf of Aden. This is a 4-quad major planetary spiritual Stargate warfare zone in the entire planet. And the Red Sea also provides a safe route for entering and exiting underground tunnels and cities. Why do you think those cables in the Red Sea broke and all of the internet went down the other day? How do we know that they weren't running underground fleet and galactic military operations in the Stargate ports? Into the underground tunnels in cities of Gaza, underwater travels into Gaza for discrepancy of their witness protection programs. So a lot is happening here, you guys.